Hey y'all, welcome into this edition of Off the Front Porch, our weekly podcast exploring the Southern experience. My name is Tony Ballman, and each week we traverse the two-lane blacktops and dirt roads of the American South in search of curious and kind personalities, tall tales, and lovingly researched history, and special events that celebrate exactly what it means to be unrepentantly and joyfully Southern. Well, today we have brought our microphones to just such a happening, and our storytelling keeps us in Barnwell County, South Carolina once again, on the grounds of an extraordinary place where hopeless romantics gather among family and friends to write the first verses of their lives together. In our last episode, we stopped at a plantation home near Barnwell, a popular wedding venue that offered the backdrop for a admittedly not so romantic conversation about farming, football, and politics. Well, this week we find ourselves just 6 miles down the road to explore a far more soothing and heartstrings tugging topic. Now, in February 1923, when British archaeologist Howard Carter and his team unsealed the main burial chamber of King Tutankhamun, a.k.a. King Tut, among all the priceless gold artifacts, they discovered dried flowers used in Egyptian burial traditions, and these flowers still held their fragrance after centuries under the desert sands. Now, in the Bible, when Jesus stopped by to visit sisters Mary and Martha in the village of Bethany, the Gospel of John tells us, quote, "Then took Mary a pound of ointment of spikenard, very costly, and anointed the feet of Jesus and wiped his feet with her hair. The house was filled with the odor of the ointment." And yes, again, in ancient Egyptian lore, it is said that when Cleopatra wanted to draw Roman leaders Julius Caesar and Mark Antony closer to her, she dabbed a floral oil on her wrist. That secret weapon for her seduction, a fragrant flower. And today, we turn off Cottonwood Road down a narrow, dusty road in Barnwell County called Daisy Lane to find ourselves surrounded by rows and rows of a flower that has claimed its own special place in history and legend. Lovers and poets have sung its praises for millennia, and modern-day foodies and artisans continue to discover new ways to deploy its soothing properties and unmistakable olfactory properties. We have arrived at the 5th annual Lavender Festival, hosted by the King George Lavender Farm, and my guest today on Off the Front Porch is one of the owners and one of the welcoming growers of that legendary herb, ELINOR Poole. ELINOR, thank you for being with me.
Thank you for having me.
It is a privilege to be here on the farm, and it is a beautiful place. I walked among the lavender just a bit ago, and I felt more relaxed. Automatically, I felt more relaxed. It was pretty amazing. Now, this is a fantastic festival out here. 5th annual Lavender Festival, and as folks can probably hear in the background, there's an awful lot of activity out here on the farm. What was the inspiration 5 years ago to say you're going to open up your farm to a bunch of strangers?
Well, it actually started much further back than 5 years ago. So we're actually from Central New York. We always vacationed in South Carolina, and we said when we get close to retirement, we're moving to South Carolina. So, and we knew we wanted to grow lavender. It was something we loved in New York. It was something I had a passion about for a long time. So when we came down here, we sought out to find the perfect property to grow lavender, and we think we found it.
So you have found this piece of property. How many acres is this out in the middle of nowhere?
We're just over 100 acres.
Just over 100 acres. And how much do you have actually planted in lavender?
So we have about 6.5 acres planted in lavender right now.
All right. So my obvious question, having, what's the opposite of green? I do not have a green thumb, okay? Get me started. You came here, you found this property in the middle of Barnwell County. How do you get started creating a lavender farm?
So it's really pretty tedious in the beginning. We came here, we're coming to a new state with new soils, that kind of stuff. Didn't know really what we were getting ourselves into. So we relied heavily on two different groups. We did a lot of consulting with lavender growers in Washington State, which if folks don't know, that grows the most lavender in the United States.
I did not know that. Thank you.
Yes. And the second thing is Clemson University. So we reached out to their cooperative extension, and funny enough, they sent us a gentleman named Rob Last, who was from England. perfect to help us get things going with the lavender.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it was a lot. It was a lot of soil testing, doing a lot of research on what kind of lavender would actually grow here. It's very difficult to grow lavender in South Carolina, so we're working on the formulas to make it grow. So.
And there are, as I was reading about this, there are many different varieties of lavender. Do you have a specific type of lavender that's growing here on the King Lavender Farm? King George.
King George, yeah. So if you ask most growers in South Carolina, they're going to tell you the go-to is Phenomenal. Phenomenal is an English-Portuguese blend. So it's blended for its scent, and then for the Portuguese part is for the heat and the humidity specifically. That's really what we struggle with here. It's not the heat. Most people think that's what it is, but it really is the humidity. Lavender does not like to be wet.
Okay, so you must have had a tough time the last few weeks because, even in drought conditions, we found ourselves in the last month with a whole ton of rain.
Yeah.
How much did that challenge you coming into your marquee event?
So one of the things that we did when we put the farm in is we were very methodical about how we planted. The big key with lavender is to have raised beds. So all of our lavender is on raised beds, and we have a mix of gravel underneath them, so they can stand a lot. We have really good drainage on the farm, but we actually amplified that by putting gravel in.
Okay, so take me back to the very beginning. You decided on your variety. You pulled in the experts. This wasn't just something where you just came out here and guessed and put some plants in the ground. No. You treated this very much like a farming enterprise, an agricultural enterprise.
Yeah, sure.
So 5 years. How long have you actually had lavender on this spot?
So we purchased the farm in 2016. In 2018, we started working with Clemson. We did test plots around the property, soil testing different varieties. We've tested so many varieties of lavender. And so that piece took us about 2 years. Once we dialed in to the variety we were going to grow. We do grow Phenomenal. As I mentioned, it's one that's, the one they recommend. However, we have found other varieties that do quite well here if you treat the soil properly.
Right. Okay.
So it was an evolution. So we went through the plots to see what would grow, worked with Clemson, amended soil. So we've gone through a lot.
When did you have your first harvest?
So our first harvest was in the spring. It would have been spring of 2019.
2019, and then lo and behold, COVID hits.
And then COVID hit. So that introduced a whole other wrinkle, and not just because of the obvious.
Right.
It actually didn't slow people down coming to the farm, surprisingly.
Because they could get outside.
They could get outside, right. One of the things I have sitting right next to us that's just off camera is we needed to get a copper still. So if you get a chance, folks get a chance to come out to the farm. I do talks about lavender, growing it, the varieties, how we distill it, all of that. When you distill lavender, specifically, you need copper. You need a copper still. We had a really hard time getting a copper still, so we had to go to Portugal in 2020 to get our stills. So we had to have them brought over, and they got stuck on the boat just off the shore of Charleston, if you guys remember this, right? Where everything was just sitting offshore.
Yeah, it was.
So we ended up saying, okay, plan B, we're going to fly them over. So we had them flown from Portugal into Florida, and they got stuck there for 3 months in customs because they wanted to know, what are you doing with the stills in South Carolina?
Exactly. And you had to say, we're not making moonshine.
We are not making moonshine.
Well, a lot of people, and I see a lot of folks walking around with the clippings of the lavender plant. You have some in your gift shop and things like that. But the key, as you said, because you have the still here, the real beauty of this plant is you are extracting the oil from the plant.
Yeah, so it's really important to note there are other lavender farms in South Carolina. They do a different model than us. A lot of lavender farms will plant 30 different varieties. They want folks to come there, see all the different types of lavender, that kind of stuff. It's not our model. Our model is we are after the oil because we produce a whole line of products. So we do dry, we do the buds, and then we harvest most of it and distill it for our oil.
That's amazing. That is that you really have taken great detail to carve yourselves a niche in the overall picture of agriculture here in South Carolina. Agriculture being the largest industry here in our state, and that is such a niche product that you have lavender oil. Now, what happens to that lavender oil once you distill it?
So when we distill, we get two products. We get the lavender essential oil, and then we get hydrosol. So the essential oil we use it's great for aromatherapy. We use it for any of our products that you want that nice lavender aroma in. We also grow a lavender that is culinary, so you can eat all lavender. But there's one that's specific for baking with, making syrups with, that kind of thing. And that's our English lavender. So that's a different variety. We can talk about that later. But when we distill, like I said, we get the essential oil and we get hydrosol. Hydrosol is an amazing byproduct that you can use for everything from cleaning surfaces in your house, a skin toner. You can use it to repel bugs. It's great for hot spots on your dog, that kind of stuff. So we do the two things.
Tell you what, we're going to take a pause here, and I'm going to go out into the festival a little bit more and talk with some folks, and then we'll come back and visit a bit more.
Sounds good.
Because I am absolutely intrigued by lavender. Elinor Poole of King George Lavender Farm. We're going to come back here on Off the Front Porch with more about the art and science of lavender. Okay, we have stepped out into the festival here, this 5th annual Lavender Festival on the King George and Lavender Farm, and we are joined by members of this magnificent bluegrass group that has been providing us entertainment all day long. And I am with Lucy.
I'm Lucy Lindblom of Heading Home, and this is my dad, John Lindblom.
The group is Heading Home, and as I understand it, you guys are outside. You're from outside the Savannah area.
That's right. We're out of Bloomingdale, Georgia, which is like 15 minutes outside of Savannah.
You have a magnificent sound, I must say. Tell me a little bit about what it's like to be here at the Lavender Festival. Have you been here before? Have you been to Barnwell County before? Or is this your first taste and smell of the Lavender Festival?
Well, we were here last year.
Okay, so you've been here.
Yep, it's our second time.
So your second time here. What's your impression of this spot, this magnificent spot here in Barnwell County?
Oh, it's beautiful. It was so nice that last year we got here a couple hours early and did a band photo shoot here.
Really? So
out in the lavender field.
So you actually have some band photos that are shot right here on the lavender field.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Well, I think what you do, the bluegrass that you do, fits in so perfectly into this farm environment. Tell me a little bit about your group. I want to spotlight your group. How long? You're a family group, I guess. So how long have you been playing music together?
Yeah, so we're a family group with dad and mom and then the 4 oldest children in the family. We've been a band for about 8 or 9 years now. So we got exposed to music from taking a trip to the mountains. That's kind of how we got started. Dad and mom have been playing classical music all their lives, and us children, we kind of dragged them into the bluegrass music as we got started maybe 8 or 9 years ago, and we've had a band since then.
So you were classically trained, so you were into classical music. How difficult was it for you to just decide, I'm going to take this shift over to Americana?
Well, it's not so hard for me because I was a trumpet player, so
okay.
I'm still learning bass, but it was probably harder for my wife, who was a classical violinist. Shifting from classical violin to fiddle playing is quite a transition, so she does a great job of it.
It is it's a beautiful sound that you have, and you've been, like you said, you've been playing for a few years now. You've done some recordings as well, and I also see some books on your merch table. Who is the novelist in this group?
Yeah, my sister Libby writes all those books. She's the guitar player for the band.
Right.
She's written 2 books, so she wrote one a couple years ago and then finished the sequel up, I think, last year. Yeah.
So you're just an all-purpose group. Not only do you play magnificent music, but you also have an author, and as I understand it, on your merch table you also have some pocket knives that were crafted by a member of the family.
That's right. Our banjo player Timothy, he custom engraves pocket knives and does all sorts of things with that.
This is a multi-talented group here, no doubt. Now, I talked a little bit about your music because as I was listening to your set today, you have some covers in there as well, but you have some a number of original songs. How do you mine the just the vast world of music to decide what you're going to play at events like this?
We always want to find songs that mean something to us. The most important thing with our band and any music that we do is the gospel message behind it all. So I would say we do a lot of gospel music as a band. We also have some members in the band that write original music. So a lot of the songs that we do are original songs. And then just songs that mean something to us that we'll find from another artist that we really like. Yeah, so always the message behind the song first.
But the thing is, I mean, you are people of faith, and therefore that common thread through your music is your faith and the hopefulness that comes from your faith.
That's correct.
That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Now, what? Talk to me about how you put your arrangements together. I mean, do you, as a family, do you practice a lot, or is it just all right? Let's just get together and jam.
No, we have 4 rehearsals a week.
So you really take it. You are into this thing like it's a full-time gig.
We do, yeah. We rehearse as a band 4 times a week. Usually if we're starting a new song, we'll have one of the members write out like a song chart of how we want it to be, all the chords and everything like that, and then we'll work out the arrangements as a band together. That's kind of something we do all together instead of just one person.
And you have your own festival coming up as well, right? As I understand it? Tell me a little bit about your festival.
Well, that's held in Hazelhurst, Georgia.
Okay.
Which is, maybe you haven't heard of that, it's near the city of Waycross, which is a little bit bigger, down in that central Georgia area,
where the alligators are.
Very close to the alligators. But yes, we're very excited. This will be number 6. Yeah, here's a flyer right here.
Well, great. I'll let me take a look at that.
Sure. It's in October. That'll be our fall festival.
Oh, and you got some incredible folks. You got some folks from up in the Lincolnton, Georgia area.
Yes, sir.
Little Roy and Lizzie. They've been around a great time. Mm-hmm. You're the host band Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Russell Moore and Third Time Out, the Cody Norris Show, Strings of Green, Nick Chandler and Delivered, Night Flyer, Crossroads. This is a fantastic festival, and it is Wednesday through Sunday, October 14th through the 18th, and this is your 6th Heading Home Festival.
That's correct.
That's right.
How challenging is it to do your own festival, to put something like this together?
Well, we really like it. I mean, it's a challenge, but it's a dream of all of ours, so we do it as a family, and we really enjoy it. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have an incredible sound. The festival is coming up, as I said, in Hazelhurst, Georgia, the Staggerly Music Park. I wonder if that's related to Lloyd Price of the Staggerly, the famous Shag tune.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like you can go down. There's RV hookups, so you can go camping down there as well, it looks like. And fishing and kayaking. This sounds like a weekend.
It's a beautiful place, yes.
Me might have to come down to the Heading Home Fest and do my show down there. That would be fun.
We'd love that.
Well, I know you've got to get back on stage, but I wanted to thank you for coming by once again.
Thank you for having us.
Your name is?
I'm Lucy Lindblom.
John. Yep. Thank you for stopping by. Let's go back over and finish up our conversation with our host here at the Lavender Farm, Elinor Poole. I'm having a great time. It must be the lavender or either the bluegrass. I'm really chill. And we are back at the Lavender Festival, 5th annual Lavender Festival here at the King George Lavender Farm in Barnwell County, joined by Elinor Poole. And Elinor, we have another guest with us.
We do. We have my daughter-in-law, Jamie, officially Jamie Poole.
Yes.
Well, let's talk a little bit first about the care and feeding of wild lavender or domestic lavender. I'm curious about that because you said you have about six acres of lavender out here. Kind of take me through a typical day of what caring for this farm is like.
So lavender is really a fussy-free kind of plant, so it doesn't require a day-to-day maintenance. However, there's specific tasks you have to do with it. We trim the plants in the spring, and we trim them again in the fall. And that's to prevent them from they get wiry if you don't. They'll stop producing lavender, and that's not what you want to have.
No, of course not.
We also have to go through and make sure that, pests like fire ants aren't building mounds up over them. Just general maintenance. The big thing with lavender is just kind of checking them to make sure if you have any dying parts of the plant, you get those off because it can actually affect the whole plant.
And what I love about this, having walked through the lavender fields down here, or do you call them lavender fields?
Sure.
What do you call them? How do you refer to lavender?
We call it peace and serenity. That's what we call it.
There you go. I got, as I said, walking down there amongst that those rows, I suddenly felt my blood pressure drop about 5 points, and it really is a beautiful place. And I noticed too, you have a magnificent family or collection of pollinators that are around here. I was taking photos of some of the plants. This place is quite literally abuzz with those beautiful pollinators.
Yeah.
So, talk to me a little bit about you. You married into this experiment. You married into this venture here. What has that been like for you? Did you see yourself as an agrarian person? Were you from a farm, or did you? Or it's like suddenly I'm a farmer?
Yeah, I'm originally from West Palm Beach, Florida, so very much a city type girl. But I've always loved being out in nature. And Eleanor has been helping me try to nurture my green thumb because I did not have one previously. So she's got all the tips and tricks and whatnot that I need to be successful when it comes to planting my own garden and vegetables and whatnot, or my lavender that I have at home as well.
Yeah.
So you have adopted the fact that you are going to have some lavender.
Yes.
You have some lavender at your home. What is it? Is it from the King George Lavender Farm?
It is, yes, because lavender is a natural bug repellent. So mosquitoes, flies, all of that. They, if you have the lavender, you won't have as many bugs around. So it's not only does it smell good, but it's useful. It's amazing.
Now, has your sense of peace kicked in now that you have lavender around?
I live in Charleston currently. This is my peace and quiet, my serenity, my heaven, if you will, on earth.
And they actually got married here too.
Yes,
so last October.
Mm-hmm.
What a great segue into my next point here. Not only do you have the You Pick, which before I get into the wedding venue part, I do want to say that it is a brief season for You Pick, isn't it, for lavender? This is not a plant that you can necessarily, at least here, pick year round.
You can't. No, it's really just late in May it starts to bloom, and then we harvest in July. There are some varieties that bloom a little bit earlier, some that bloom a little bit later or bloom twice, but they're not a profuse blooming. It's just a small show. Yeah. So, but we really only open in June to the public.
And you're open for just a few weeks.
For just a few weeks.
And that's your season.
That's our season.
Now, part of this season, obviously, for the past 4 years has been this festival here, or last 5 years, the 5th annual Lavender Festival here. But you're also part of a really incredible thing that our Department of Agriculture and our Parks, Recreation, and Tourism folks hold hands on. And as a matter of fact, since this is premiering on the Sunday before Barnwell County's slot on the Ag Plus Art Tour, folks can actually come back again on that Saturday, the 13th, and visit the farm.
They can. They can actually come for the remainder of June. They can come Thursday and Friday from 10 to 4 and Saturdays from 9 to 2 until the end of June.
Mm-hmm. And the Ag Plus Art Tour, again, being a part of that, here you've got magnificent vendors out here with all sorts of arts and crafts, but the focus for Ag Plus Art really is bringing the arts out here.
That's right. That's right. We actually have some artisans that are going to be here setting up doing paintings around the farm. They did it last year. It was amazing. So we're really glad they're coming back again.
Super. Well, it is a beautiful place. Now, you got married here on this property, and folks can do that. There is a chapel over here at the next to the barn area. Talk a little bit about what that's like to be a part of people's very special day.
Well, I think I'm going to let the bride answer that question.
Let's do that.
Yes. So we have a couple of ceremony sites. So you can use the chapel, but you can also use the pond with the live oaks around it. So you can walk through the lavender on your way down the aisle. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
And I have had every single couple that we've talked to says that this is the most beautiful place in the entire world. Sometimes the horses will come and they'll show off and get in the pictures and whatnot.
The ducks.
In the ducks, yep. Yep.
Yeah. So really we're a country setting. We're a barn venue. So the brides and grooms that we attract really appreciate being out in nature. The lavender is just sort of a bonus for them that they can say that I was married at a lavender farm. As Jamie said, we have lots of places for them to have exchange ceremonies, including in front of our fireplace here. So, we're unique in that way that, we're a lavender farm.
It is a beautiful spot. You're going to say?
Yes, and the lavender smell is year-round. It's not the buds that smell, it's the lavender plant
It's
itself.
a good point.
So if you go and touch the leaves of the lavender plant, you smell like lavender.
I tell
So
you,
it's not just the flowers.
I had the lavender pound cake a little while ago, and I just want to keep sniffing my hands because it's just a magnificent smell. Now, since we did sort of drift into Hallmark Network territory here, there is a beautiful story about a certain door on this farm that I would love for you to share.
So I don't have the whole thing memorized, but my husband and I wrote it. It was basically saying that we get to the honor of watching lots of people get married on the farm, and we get to watch from behind the purple door of our little greenhouse. So we get to see the first glimpses of families starting, right? So when they get married and go on to have children.
You see the bride first.
You see the bride first, and, it's just a really special thing to have people be here.
The purple door on the greenhouse. Now, as I read that, there was question about whether the purple door was going to still exist. It's a wonderful story if you want to check it out on the website. I was sitting there reading it this morning, and I said, oh my, I think I have to dab an eye because you really did. I mean, I believe the story quotes your husband as saying, or maybe is it you, or it was quoted as saying that you hope for every person here that they would have the type of love that you've had.
But me and my husband we've been married for 35
I was
years.
going to say 30-something years.
Yeah, and it's been an amazing ride, and like I said, we're just so honored with every bride and groom that start their journey here. And a matter of fact, today for our festival, we had about 5 of our former brides, 6, come back to visit us for the festival.
That's got to be gratifying too when people come back in here. They have spent that special day with you on this property, and then they come back and go, this is woven into our individual history.
Yeah, and that's really important to us. So they come back. Some of them are expecting their first babies, which is so exciting. But they come back and they do their anniversary pictures here, and they really make us a part of their story.
Well, is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I was just going to say, and who gets to come back to their ceremony site, where they got married and actually be able to experience it all over again and have that rush of memories. I'm very fortunate that I can come here whenever I want, but the Lavender Festival allows them to come as well if they don't want to schedule a tour or something like that. But
the difference is they put you to work when you come back.
Oh, but I like working. I make the wine slushies. I make everyone happy.
And I must say, you've served me a couple of wine slushies today. And
so it was part of her vows is that she would love, honor, and work on the farm.
Yeah.
Was
make
part
product.
of the ceremony. Yes.
Well, this has been just a tremendous privilege for me to come out here and be a part of the 5th Annual Lavender Festival. Matter of fact, I'm going to take some home. I'll get, all right, I got to be completely authentic here. I am here because the love of my life told me about this last night.
Wonderful.
And her thing is she loves lavender lattes. That is her piece.
Okay.
And I was
some
saying,
simple syrup and put it in that latte.
But I was sitting there last night. I'm like, okay, I missed doing a story, but I've already got one back up. I'm going to just run what I've got. And she said, oh, by the way, the King George Lavender Farm is having a festival tomorrow. And I went, huh?
Yeah.
Let's do it. So it's interesting, as I was walking around here and I saw the chapel and I saw the greenhouse, and I looked upon the purple door and I was like, this is a wildly romantic place here.
Thank you.
You got to have some movies filmed out here.
Yeah, we've actually had some TV shows come here and be filmed, so
yeah,
so it's been interesting. Yeah,
gotta get Hallmark out here to do a film.
Well, you work
here
on that for us.
I will. I'll make a few calls. Well, and again, Elinor Poole and
Jamie.
Poole. Thank you for inviting us out here today. It's been a magnificent festival. Certainly want folks to come out to the Ag Plus Art Tour, and all the rest of June come out on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
That's correct.
And you can walk out here on this beautiful property. You can pluck your own lavender and take a little bit of this incredibly magical place home with you. I want to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our Facebook page as well as our Instagram page, and listen to this podcast on all the major platforms. And thank you once again. From the King George Lavender Farm in Barnwell County, South Carolina, I'm Tony Ballman. I'll see you next week out on the open road as we go off the front porch.